All right, so our first step of our frozen banana not desserts, is some ripe bananas. Now, sometimes you're gonna have bananas on the counter and they're gonna be like, oh, you know, they look too ripe, whatever, too soft, you're kind of squeamish, you don't really want to eat them. So this is a perfect use for them. What we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to peel them and put them in a Ziploc bag. So I'm pretty sure that you all know how to peel a banana, but we're gonna do this together. We're gonna try and keep them like that, nice and whole. Try and remove some of these strings. I'm sure they're very important, but we don't want them in our recipe here. Just toss that in a Ziploc. If you have some sort of innovative banana peeling technique that you want to share with us and the rest of the viewers, by all means, go ahead. Any strings here? Not really, we did string free. All right, throw them in here in a Ziploc. Okay, try and get out a little bit of the air. You can make a lot of bananas in advance and then just remove as many as you need for how many portions you'll be making. For us right now, we're just gonna freeze 2. All right, so we're gonna get our frozen bananas here out of the bag. You can keep them for pretty long, but not too long. What'll happen is they'll start losing moisture over time and they'll get quite dark and develop a lot of frost. A little bit of frost here and there is fine, but once it's in the freezer for too long, it's not going to be so great. So, you know, use them within a couple of weeks or so, ideally. All right, so we're just going to take the frozen bananas and we're going to break them up into some pieces. Doesn't matter really, depends on your blender or mixer, whatever you use. We're going to chuck them in there. And we are going to add our liquid. It can be water, it can be milk, dairy, you know, goat milk, cow milk, you know, if you want to get adventurous, camel milk, I don't know, whatever you use. We're using almond milk, you could use soy milk, you get the idea here. So we're going to add that. We're going to add about half a cup here. You can add more or less depending on your preferences. We have a few blueberries frozen also. We're gonna add most of them. We're gonna keep just a couple for our garnish over here on the side. And in our case, we're gonna add a little bit of a sweetener here. This is raw honey. You don't have to add this. It depends on what your aims are. If you want it a little bit sweeter, a little bit less, it's up to you. You could add sugar, you could add honey, you could add, you know, artificial sweetener, stevia, whatever it is that you like, whatever fits you. So we're gonna add that. Now at this point, you can add also other things like some sort of peanut butter or some sort of nut butter, seed butter, specifically not something like coconut butter, because it solidifies at a relatively high temperature and it won't blend well at all, and you won't get that creamy sort of ice cream texture that you're aiming for. You can add protein powder, any type basically. You may need to adjust the liquid, namely water, milk, or whatever. All right, so let's get this bad boy going. Whoops, knock that over. See, we're doing things in real life here. Let's give her a few pulses to break down the big chunks. Now, if you see that things are not blending well right off the bat, that means that you may need a little bit more liquid. So we will add a little bit more. into our blender here. And if that doesn't work, you can try scraping down the sides, because all of this mass here is frozen. It tends to stay together. Okay, around midway or approximately midway, don't really matter too much. If you notice that you do have some chunks that are not playing along, and you want to make sure that they do, just got to scrape down the sides of the blender and give her another mix. Should integrate well. Alright, so our frozen dessert is ready. As you can see, it has a texture that is very similar to ice cream. Depending on your specific additions, this texture may change slightly. It may be a little bit grittier, it may be a little bit smoother. You know, if you add some fat content and you keep it to strictly bananas, it'll be quite smooth. If you add some other frozen fruits, it may be a little bit grittier. You may find that you have some ice crystals when you chew or bite or consume this delicious frozen dessert. And of course, ours is colored purple because of the blueberries. So we did not necessarily make the basic recipe, but as you can see, it is nice and ice cream like nature. Beautiful. We made a very healthy dessert. You can make this so that it is absolutely fat-free. You don't have to add any sugar or honey or anything like that. If your bananas are ripe when you freeze them, you're gonna have a delicious, fat-free, very healthy dessert, very refreshing, and you are going to love it if you love bananas. All right, beautiful ice cream here. Well, technically not ice cream, but that's delicious. Came out perfect. Nice and creamy. Super refreshing. Blueberry, banana, the raw honey. It's great. Make it.